Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, we're going to be diving into one of the most bullish chart setups I've ever seen for Bitcoin and analyzing a fractal that has to do with one of the greatest performing assets of all time. What I have found from Twitter is one of the craziest fractals that I've ever seen that perfectly shows where Bitcoin is going to be headed and how we're about to be at over $200,000 per Bitcoin by the end of this year. There's only 4 months left inside of this bull run. This is going to be the most profitable point of the entire cycle where we're going to see cryptocurrencies go up astronomically in value to the point where most people aren't even going to think it's possible. This is the point where we've always been preparing for over the last 4 years of this 4-year cycle. And now I have a fractal that's going to perfectly share with you guys exactly where I think we're headed long term. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 20,000 members growing. If you guys want to sign up and join the rest of my community, share your own thoughts on the market, there's going to be a link in the description to go ahead and sign up. On top of that, if you're new just getting into these markets and you want some extra educational content, you can also download my free ebook as well. Lots of cool information that I know is going to help you guys out tremendously. So check it out. Links are provided for you in the description. And with all that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so here we are taking a look at Bitcoin, and to start off this video, I just wanted to summarize really what we're going to be talking about today. Now you guys already know, as I've been explaining for the last couple weeks, and over the last 2 years specifically, I've been always explaining that there's going to be one big blow off top to end the cycle that's going to be pretty much where we create the majority of our profits. It was the exact same way back in 2017 in the last cycle, and if we throw it back, I'll share with you guys kind of what I mean. This is where Bitcoin bottomed out at the end of the last bear market, and then we started the uptrend, right? This is really where we're building the foundation, nothing too crazy, higher highs, higher lows. And then right here is where we broke the all-time highs. And this is when we start actually going parabolic. Every single person was trying to call tops every single time we'd have a correction. And this is the way it was all the way up until the blow off top. But what's interesting here is I watched many people try and call tops throughout this entire period. Every single person that was out there that was, a little bit insecure about where the long-term trend of Bitcoin was headed, they were all trying to call tops at the first sign of every single impulse, as well as the corrections. It was mainly at the bottom of the corrections where everybody would get super bearish. They'd say, oh, bull market's over. We're going to start crashing and go back to new lows. And this is literally what happens every cycle. What you're going to notice here is every single impulse past the all-time highs, there isn't really a previous point to base our analysis off of. We're just in price discovery, right? We keep going up, we keep making higher highs, and everybody's just trying to call a top because they know at some point this is going to end. They don't know exactly where because there's no price data to go off of. We're literally just in no man's land going parabolic. And so what we've noticed here is each one ends with a very, very big euphoric blow off top. That's what I always call it. And this is the one that happened in 2017. So we get our two big impulses past the all-time highs into price discovery. Big impulses, but nothing too crazy. Not really what we would see inside of a blow off top. But the real blow off top took place right here. So we ended up bottoming right about $3,000 exactly. And then in the last part of the cycle, this was September 13th. Remember, guys, we ended up topping about the first week or the second week in December for the Bitcoin cycle. And so we bottomed here at mid-September, and we bottomed at 3K. And from 3K, we went all the way up to 20,000 in just a couple months, right? We ended up topping December 15th. So it was just a few months that we ended up going from $3,000 all the way up to $20,000. This was where the majority of that profit was made. Yes, if you would have sold prematurely, even if you would have sold the exact top over here, you would have made great gains had you have been the person that bought all the way down here at the low, right? But when it came to the altcoins made massive blow-off tops as well. And so had you have held, you didn't have to sell the exact top of the blow-off top, but had you have held until, at least late November, maybe even early November, you would have set yourself up to make a significant amount of money, a lot more money than the people that ended up selling a little bit early. Now, while I'm not trying to make the case that you guys should hold all the way to the very last second, I still think it's smart to lock up some profits, especially if you guys have been here very, very early on like I have. It's going to be smart to sell in the latter months. When we start hitting fall, late fall to early winter, you guys are really going to know where we're at in the cycle, especially when we start seeing price action like this. And so I wanted to share this, guys, with you just mainly because I want to talk to you guys about a fractal. And this fractal is going to perfectly explain where I think that we're going to be headed to close out the end of the year for this current Bitcoin cycle. And then we're going to summarize my thoughts by talking about the next bear market. What type of a correction am I going to see? Do I expect to see the same type of a pullback that we've seen all of the other bear markets, which is 80% plus? Or do I think that now that there's institutions in the market, there's going to be a much higher support floor made? I'm going to cover all of that. So let's get right into it right now. So first things first, guys, what I wanted to share with you guys is basically the gold cycle. Now, we've honestly been analyzing the gold fractal for a long time because our most recent bear market looked a lot like this right here, where Bitcoin tops at 20K, we pull back to 6K, we bounce 6K, bounce 6K, and then we crash to 3,200, right? This was pretty much the exact same fractal. The only difference was gold went all the way into new all-time highs, whereas Bitcoin kind of bounced up here, went like this, and then we had the capitulation in March, right? So it was a little bit different after this point, but this fractal itself was very much the same as what Bitcoin saw. And if you guys notice, this is the same fractal a lot of other altcoins from 2017 did as well. But the point that we're trying to make here isn't this cycle. It's actually all the way back down in here in this one right here. So there isn't enough price history to actually go off of what happened in the one wave, but what we can see based off of the Elliott waves, in that first major gold cycle, it would have looked something like this, right? Here's wave one. Obviously, we're just guessing where wave one was, but then this was wave three, and then we get a final wave five right here, right? And this wave five is the blow off top. This is really what I've been trying to pinpoint to you guys and understanding where we still need inside of this current Bitcoin cycle. You have this big run up in the three wave. That's when everything goes into new all-time highs, price discovery, everybody gets really excited. And then you always have that first little pullback into price discovery. Everybody gets real bearish. Everybody assumes that the bear or the bull market is over. And then that's ultimately what takes us into our final blow off top. And inside of a blow off top, you guys are going to notice there is very few pullbacks. It's pretty much just sheer verticality, very parabolic price action, and this is what takes us into our final top of the cycle, and then we get our big crash, right? And so the point that I'm trying to make here is this three wave, and I wanted to analyze this with you guys because Bitcoin itself, when we actually overlay that same cycle over to Bitcoin, you guys are going to start to see that there's a massive correlation between gold and Bitcoin. Now, this was the cycle that I was actually trying to compare with you guys, how gold topping here at $800 and then going all the way back down to $200 looked a lot like Bitcoin's cycle in the bear market, right? Where we get that big blow off top, we make that correction, and then we bounce here off of that support floor, crash to 3,200, round out. And then this is really where gold just kind of kept going up into new all-time highs, whereas Bitcoin didn't do that, right? We had much more of a deeper consolidation. But the point I'm trying to make for this video is the three wave that we saw with gold right here compared to the three wave that we see with Bitcoin, right? Because where we are at in Bitcoin is wave three. This move from 3,200 to 14K back down to 3.8 was wave one. This entire move from 3,800 all the way up here to 65K was wave three. We finished wave four with this correction that we saw, about a 60% correction from high to low. And now guys, where we're getting up for next is literally wave five in this cycle. And in the last couple weeks, really the last month, I've been updating you guys explaining, I fully expect that we're gonna be gearing up for the blow off top of this Bitcoin cycle, the very big bang, right? The very ending of this cycle. And inside of a blow off top, you generally see price action like this. It's just pure parabolic in the same way that we saw it happen in 2017. Remember guys, we had these quick impulses and pullbacks, but inside of the blow off top from 3K to 20K, there was pretty much no pullback. It was just pretty much straight up and down with the price action. And this is going to be the exact same thing that we're going to see again. When we analyze gold, the same thing happened here, right? I bet it pulled back probably 70% inside of that move. Let's analyze it real quick. So gold ended up topping here at about $875. So from there all the way down, 66%. So not quite 70, but it was still a very big correction, right? We had this massive, massive move, and just as quick as it went up, it pretty much went down and corrected 66% of the whole thing. Now, I honestly think that this is going to be the same case for Bitcoin once again. And when we analyze this fractal, guys, it's amazing to me how it lines up as perfect as it possibly can. And that tells me personally that the same people that control the gold markets control the Bitcoin markets, which isn't hard for me to understand. It's always the same players that control every market, whether it's the stock market, whether it's commodity markets, whether it's something entirely different. It's always the same big players. You got banks, you have major corporations, and then you have certain people that kind of just are in the background that we don't know about that have even more money than all of those people combined. And so this is what we're going to see here, noticing that Bitcoin and gold have always been very correlated in price. Basically going back here and analyzing this cycle, Bitcoin's bear market looked exactly like this. A little bit different, but nonetheless, it's about the same exact type of market structure. Now, what's interesting to me is this entire three-wave structure looks, once again, almost identical to what we saw here with gold. Now, this was when a time where basically what happened was the government banned gold. The government confiscated all of the citizens' gold, and then they pumped the price like crazy. So they enriched themselves, and it was all honestly at the expense of the common man, right? And this is that cycle. We don't see the one wave, but this is what happened. We get wave 3 and 4, and then for the final blow off top, that's when they pretty much just allowed everybody to go back, allowed everybody to buy gold again, and then that's when we get the final blow off top of that cycle. Now, even though America and everybody didn't specifically ban Bitcoin, we still see the same type of market structure here. And what this is gearing up for is wave 5. Really, what I expected was Bitcoin's price to be at about $250,000 by the end of this year. Now, the way that this fractal is lining up, the very top of this is about the end of January. And so once again, guys, I'm going to be scaling out based off of the winter timeframes. You already know how my trading plan stacks up with the 4-year cycle theory. And what's interesting to me here is that this ends up topping and this structure looks identical to gold's. And this perfectly shows somewhere around that end of the year for the big sell-off. And if we actually come over here and look at gold, where did gold top? What year or what month was gold topping at? Well, it's the 1st of January. We oftentimes get these major corrections, major pivot points in the market cycle, whether it's the low of the cycle or whether it's high of the cycle, and it's always at the winter. For gold, it also topped here at the 1st of January. So isn't it interesting how the cycles look almost exactly the same based off the price action? The market structure looks the same. We all know that Bitcoin's gearing up for this wave 5. There's institutions in the market, guys. They need liquidity to sell into. They've been accumulating Bitcoin since 2018. When we actually come over here and we look at the futures chart for Bitcoin, it's not coincidence that the exact day that Bitcoin topped was the exact day that futures opened, right? Look at the price up here, 20,000. Is it coincidence that the exact day that futures opens for Bitcoin, Bitcoin tops out of its cycle? Of course not. The people shorted the market. So you guys got to remember, the institutions haven't just been buying recently, since we've heard about Elon Musk, since we've heard about Michael Saylor, since we've heard about BlackRock and all these other institutions, banks and whatever that have added Bitcoin to their reserves. It's not coincidence that the exact day futures opens, Bitcoin tops from its cycle. They shorted the exact top, the market crashes. And what's funny, guys, is this is a year-long contract. They opened the contract here at the beginning of 2018. They closed the contract right here at the very end of 2018. So it's not coincidence that the exact day that Bitcoin crashes from its cycle is the exact day futures opens. And it's not coincidence that the exact day that Bitcoin bottoms is the exact day that the contract ends. They shorted the top, they bought the bottom, and that's why we see this big upswing in price. And so they've already accumulated Bitcoin, guys. They've been holding for the entire cycle. They've already been in this market. They accumulated all the way throughout here. And now that we're in price discovery, they need exit liquidity. And so it's not that it's not that these institutions have just been buying Bitcoin, even though we've only now just been hearing about it. Pretty much at 65K, right around this period of time when Bitcoin started getting above 50K is when we started hearing all of this good news about how all of these different corporations and all of these different institutions and banks and whatnot were actually buying Bitcoin and adding it to their reserves. Is it coincidence? No, it's not, guys. They've already been buying it. They've already had positions in Bitcoin. The only reason that they're telling us about it now and you guys out there is because they need us to pump the price. They need us to drive the price up to 150, 200K, 250K, and who knows how high we end up going in the cycle so that they can sell all of their profit and realize that gain that they've had from all the way back down in here. And so this is really why I wanted to give you guys this analysis. This is gearing up for the blow off top. We need to make sure that we're taking profits inside of this blow off top because I truly believe it's going to be something like this. Very, very parabolic. It's going to defy everybody's wildest expectations, unless, you know, you're people like me that have really been preparing for this exact moment in time. A lot of you guys probably are aware that we should expect to see a massive move to close out the bull run. And that's exactly where we're at today, guys. We're gearing up for this final 5 wave. And so for me, really the best bit of advice and instruction I can give you guys is simply be ready to sell at the end of the year. You know, I hear a lot of different people talking about lengthening cycles, and that's totally fine if that's your method of trading and that's your plan. All I'm going to say is if that is your method of plan, please take some profits at the end of the year, because even if I'm wrong, and you're not, and you're right, and you end up holding because of the lengthening cycle, you know, that's great, and I'm going to be very happy for anybody that makes the majority of their profit, anybody that makes life-changing wealth. That's all that really matters. That's why I built this channel. But if you're ended up being wrong about this, and then we top and we don't end up having a lengthening cycle, and you're sitting there holding for the lengthening cycle, you're going to evaporate all of that profit, because basically what's going to happen is the same thing that happened here. Let's go to 2 weeks. And let's take the actual sell-off of gold and let's just simply overlay it on the Bitcoin chart. And let's talk about some thoughts and perspectives here so that we can kind of analyze where we're going to be at the beginning of this next bear market. So if we take this chart and we actually overlay it onto what we see here with Bitcoin, we're going to expect to see a big crash, right? A big crash. And 80% is probably going to take us all the way back down to 60 to 50K. And who knows, guys, we could literally correct all the way back down to about 3,400 in between wave 3 and 4. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. And if that was the case, guys, pretty much this entire move would be evaporated after the first dip, which is honestly the same thing that happened in 2017. This is where Bitcoin topped, and I think that Bitcoin actually corrected 70% after the blow off top before we ended up getting a significant bounce. Yeah, so almost exactly 70%. And if you guys are going to notice, we had this massive, massive dip, right? Upswing, bounced around, and then we corrected once again. Now, even though I don't think that we're going to have quite this big of a sell-off right off the bat, I think what's more likely, I mean, we really could, guys. I think that we could definitely find support somewhere between wave 3 and wave 4, because if we come over here, guys, and we analyze where was Bitcoin bottoming in that last cycle, well, Bitcoin bottomed right here. That's between this wave 3 and 4 structure, right here in this major support cluster, right? And so we shouldn't be unaware of this same potential playing out once again for Bitcoin. Now, I think it would happen in a much shorter time frame. Remember, I'm personally targeting the beginning of 2023 for that point of re-entering inside of this market. And so the structure would look something like this. It's going to be very, very volatile, guys. And if Bitcoin was to do the same thing, you know, that's about an 80% correction all the way back down to 60K. And it would be about mid 80%, about 84% correction if we came all the way back down in between wave 3 and wave 4. And so that's honestly what I'm expecting. I'm personally going to be sitting out of this market until the beginning of 2023 because that's where the cycle timeframes line up for the beginning of the new 4-year cycle. I'm going to be out by the winter, you know, if I sell here, if I sell here, if I sell here, and if I sell back down in here again after the crash, I don't care. I literally don't care about the price. All that matters to me is the time frames in which I'm getting out. If I'm getting out based off the time frames, I'm going to be getting out at the cycle top. It doesn't have to be the exact top, but I don't care about nailing the exact top. All I cared about was accumulating while the market was cheap down here. I've already made so much money, and chances are you guys have already made so much money as well. If you're anything like me, I've already far surpassed my financial goals that I set for myself. You know, I have a couple that I've remade for myself, new financial goals that I'd like to hit by the end of the year, but that's not, you know, what's important. What's important is that I've already conquered all of my financial goals that I set for myself. I have way more money than I ever expected myself to have at this point in my life. And so why would I get too greedy trying to know the exact top when I can simply sell, stick to my plan that I've had for over 2.5 years, and, you know, just ultimately look to buy after a 70 to 80% drawdown, or once again, the beginning of 2023, because that's where the cycle's lining up. That's personally my specific trading plan that I'm going to be going with. I just wanted to make this video as a way to share with you guys what this long-term cycle is going to look like. It's going to look something like this. We've already followed gold up to this point. what's interesting to me is how this cycle looks the same, and both of these cycles were pretty much what took us to that blow off top. For gold, it was $850. For Bitcoin, 250, 300K approximately. We don't know exactly where that cycle top is going to be, but regardless, guys, I'm going to be out by the winter. I'm going to be looking to just hold my cash reserves to the beginning of 2023, buy that dip again, and then, we're pretty much just going to ride off into the promised lands. Maybe it'll be something like this, where we get some type of a move after Bitcoin goes back into its next cycle. I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but nonetheless, guys, wouldn't you rather just wait till the crash, the cycle low, re-enter into the market, and then just hold? Because what if Bitcoin ultimately does kind of the thing that stocks do? What if, we've looked at the stock market, and when they hit a certain point of market maturity, they just simply go up forever. They make big pullbacks, maybe 20, 50, 60%, but nonetheless, they're always just maintaining a solid uptrend. So we have an opportunity, a rare opportunity of cashing out inside of this market bubble. This is a bubble nonetheless. This will come crashing down very hard. We are in this market bubble. What if this is the last year of the 4-year cycle and the next cycle around is actually where we get the lengthening cycle? I still think we're too early for the lengthening cycle. But nonetheless, after this cycle, I truly believe that we could be at that point where we do experience lengthening cycles. I'm not ignorant to the belief that lengthening cycles is a thing that is a very real possibility that can happen. But nonetheless, guys, I would rather sell at the end of the year. If the market extends another 4 months, so be it. I might miss out on some profits. Like I said, I've already made so much that it doesn't matter. But what I'm personally going to be looking for is to sell in winter and rebuy beginning of 2023. That's the plan. That's what I'm going to be looking at. I wanted to give you guys this update as just a way to summarize all of these thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, guys, if you do want to join my Discord server, if you want to sign up for my VIP content, you guys can join the Discord server for free. Or if you do want to get access to my private groups, we're getting ready to take our profits at the end of the year. Knowing what I'm going to be doing with that profit can really set you guys up a lot long term. This inside of my group, guys, I'm once again doing the biggest discount that I'm ever going to do. If you guys want to get access to all of my group's products, all of that insider information that I end up sharing to them, where I'm moving my profits into, which trades I'm taking, which new markets I'm going to be investing into, how I'm going to be doing that, all of that fun stuff, I'm going to teach you guys inside of my Discord server. And so if you guys have been on the fence about joining, you guys like the content of this channel, I do have that available at the biggest discount. It's over 50% off right now. Links are going to be provided for you in the description for the people that want to sign up. Once again, guys, there's also free content as well. My free ebook is down in the description as well. And then you guys can also join the Discord for free. There's a lot of cool people in there. And so nonetheless, no matter what way you guys go about doing this, I'm going to have YouTube videos. I'm going to have all of this fun stuff. But if you want to know specifically what I'm doing with my money, now is your chance to get in at the ground floor. Biggest discount I'm going to do. And I look forward to seeing you guys in there. Thank you guys so much for the support of this channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I look forward to watching what you guys end up turning into this financial fortune as we close out the end of this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.